Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Here we go. Yes, yes. Oh, so wait a second. Good morning. Thank you. Good, good. Okay. Yes. Good morning. Morning. It's so good to be here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is great. Ha- Happy Monday. I have been up so long. It's lunchtime. Yes. Yes. Yes, I do. Mm, yes, yes. Organization. It's time for year-end money moves because if you wait until next year to get your finances organized, that's too late. And a lot of people do that because around, you know, January, everybody says, "Oh, I got to get my taxes together," but that's way too late. This is the time where I sit down with the Afro Economics members and we really are intensely saying, get everything together. How much money have you spent this year? Did you retire this year? Did you get married this year? Did you go through a divorce this year? What happened this year that may be a taxable event for you so that you don't have any surprises? The least amount of financial surprises that you have, the more financially empowered that you'll be. My goal for everyone out there listening on the Carl Nelson show, and they will definitely, you had a brother, one of your avid listeners that shared the stream from this morning on his page. He said that what you and I talk about is practical financial information, and that's empowerment. I know that we kind of in our subconscious mind, yes, indeed, Mr. Ramsey, we want things to be complicated, but the average person really wants things to be, really needs things to be simple. So as you're waking up today or as you're driving into work listening to Carl, you need to realize that you need to keep your life as simple as possible. In order to do that, is that you have to be organized. And I always say, what does the back seat of my car look like? If the back seat of my car is looking good, pretty much I've got the rest of my life organized. If it's looking crazy, then pretty much. And for some people, it might be their passenger seat. But how are the things that where you're spending your most time? How is it looking? That's where we have. That's where your finances typically are. So let's make sure we're taking that time to get your financial matters in order. So like where are all of the financial transactions that you had over this year? And yes, it is October indeed. So I need to know your quarterly statements for March, for July, for September. You need to have all of those. Even the monthly would be great, but at minimum, you need to have all of your quarterly statements for this year leading up to this point, and you should have reviewed them. Many people have not looked at any of their statements. Mhm, mhm. Oh my. Mhm, 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 mhm. That's right. That's right. By priorities. And a very great, good question, because your budget should be based on what's important to you. Whatever your priorities are, that's your budget, not some checklist of what some template that you're using. Those might not be your priorities, but whatever your priorities are, you should create the 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 design for how you are going to pay the things that are important to you. And the so when you're going to so if it's important to you to have uh your lights on, make sure that you have a budget for that. Like utilities are one of the biggest inflation increase. The cost of keeping the lights on in your home has gone up probably more than 8%. Your cost of living, has gone up in your house, or your rent, or your expenses in living have gone up more than that 8%, for most people. Even on if your mortgage has stayed the same, that the adjustment in the taxation from your locality has made your mortgage payment even go up because of the escrow. So you're still seeing where people will say, "Oh, my rent went up so much." People, even that are buying their home, are still having the same challenge with their, a cost of living in their house going up because of the cost of repairs going up. So, what are your priorities? And that should be how you design your budget. The, you're going to have to cut out of some of the other things. Like, I mean, I believe that we can decide that these things are not important to me anymore. Like, you might have where you're spending, money on, I don't know, say a vehicle, and you live in New York City, and you may have to decide that that vehicle is not an necessary expense, and you do sell the vehicle at this particular time, or don't, or you allow someone else to take over the expenses of that vehicle at that particular time, and let them take over the insurance, and let them take over those things because they need the vehicle and you don't. So there may have to be some adjusting in what your priorities are. If he wants to live at that particular place that has now cost him twice as much, then that's what he's going to have to do. Adjust some other things, or increase his income. And that is just the reality of things that happen in life. Like, the if you're living somewhere that you cannot or no longer want to afford, like if he does not want to pay that much to live there, he should seriously make a plan to move. if he doesn't see the value of that, of living there and paying that much. Mhm, mhm. The well, if they it's all based on supply and demand, you know. And as I was saying about the mortgages are going up because of the, value or the perceived value. So then the municipalities are saying that the value is higher, so then they're increasing their tax rates, and then they're increasing their taxation. Even if they leave the rate the same, the taxation will be higher because their estimated value of the property is higher now. So, and that's only based on some estimation, because you'd have to actually sell it at that price in order to get it. But something, it must be based on something hopefully being sold at that value. But you would have to actually go and venture out that, are there actually properties in my area being sold at this value you're saying that my property is worth now? And if they can prove that in the assessment, then yes, your property is worth that. And in rent, if people if the demand for that particular property has gone up that much and they're willing to pay, that's what's good. They're going to want you out when they renew you. If someone is willing to pay that much more, they're going to say this is the new price for that property. And if that's not real, then you do have a case against them if they don't rent it to someone at that price that they offered it to you for. That would be blatant discrimination. Mhm, mhm, mhm. That is indeed an option, which we have talked about all the time. Even in the middle of all of the money flowing in, we have in our time together been consistent about this is not going to last all the time. Come on, y'all. Let's save this money. Let's save this money. I knew that it was going to reverse on you. I just knew it. Like there is absolutely no time in history where employees are going for an extended period of time going to have the upper hand on the employer. It just doesn't, just doesn't happen. Mhm, mhm, mhm. It is always a good time to start your own business. You have to always think of yourself as a brand. But some people are in jobs that will not allow them to have their own business. They're going to consider it a conflict of interest, outside business activity. That you can't do it. So you have to, be careful if you're in that type of situation, because there's a lot of people in our community that work for the federal government. So, and they have particular like security clearances and things like that. They have to be very careful on what they do away from that job that they have with the government. But yes, it is very important to allow yourself to have additional sources of income away from work. But at the same time, you have to keep yourself in compliance with your major source of income. And mhm, mhm. Yeah, and not even think of it, as just a hustle, But the most important thing is that if a person has a job and they have another skill, they need to look at it as legitimately a small business so that they can start putting it on their Schedule C as a small business and begin building that business while they're still working, so that during the years of building the business, the possible losses that they're incurring while they're buying the equipment for the business, that they're are able to write that off on their tax return. Mhm. Okay. Good. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear Carl now? Can you all hear Carl now? I think he fixed it. You can hear everything now. I think they can hear everything now. Thanks, Paul. Do-
Were they not here?
I think they can hear everything now. You
Yeah,
think?
I don't think that.
Hmm. Did you see that when she was saying she couldn't hear Carl? I think. Hmm. I think. Thank you. Let's get it. Amen. Mm. Woo. Mm. Yes. Well, it's be fine. I want to talk about, remind me to talk about this. Remind me to talk about juicy days. That's right. What kind of thing? See what else I want to talk about. Let me put Carl's phone number in here. That's right. That's right. And most importantly, that we wait for someone to come along and sell us something. We always like want to be sold. Like we've gotten into this like transactional mentality that our way out is to buy something. But our way up, in my opinion, is like strategy that in most cases, I, I've people that I've met, they already have everything that they need in order to succeed. It's what they're doing with it. Like I'll meet a person and they'll have like a work retirement plan, but they're looking at me at something to buy. Instead, they should be asking me, how should this be invested? What I have, because the money that they have already is just not working for them because they haven't talked to a registered investment advisor like myself about how they should be investing what they have. So I believe that everything that we need, we already have. We just don't know what to do with it. It's like we have these skills, but we don't know how to make money with it. Like you have a family member, they make great cakes and they just take the talent for granted. I was a really really good friend of mine, like a sister to me. Like yesterday, she makes homemade rolls, like she and that costs a lot of money. And she took them into work yesterday. And I said, "What did you get?" And they were giving them gift cards on whoever made the most of the best stuff. And she might be listening. And she said, "Oh, they gave me a $10 gift card." And I'm calculating in my mind immediately. And I'm looking at all of these rolls and turkey that she put in the rolls and everything she did. And I'm like, they gave you a $10 gift card. All of the hours and the rolls and the effort that you put in and you got $10, I would want to throw the stuff at them, you know. But but if we everything that we need, but literally you go to the right place and every one of those rolls that she had, not even the turkey inside, the roll itself would have been sold for more than $10. And that's what they gave her, $10. So, I mean, it was literally homemade. Homemade. You got about all those ingredients, this and that, and wait for it to rise. Then put it in the oven. And she had about, it looked to me in the picture she sent me, about 50 of them stuffed with turkey. Took them to work. And then everybody was eating. And that's what they came up with, $10 gift cards for. So, like, not participate at all if that's all they're going to give you is $10. But I I had no idea that she had that talent because that is something that, like, if they like the roles and she's open to it and they really liked it, she should start taking it into work and selling those sandwiches and rolls for $10 a piece, $10 a piece, $10 a piece, just like that. Like, oh, y'all don't have to bring lunch because I'm gonna be making my sandwiches on such and such a day. And I remember when as a child, when I would run for some, I would always do these little pageants. And my mother would make chicken sandwiches and we would take them to Delaware State. And those students would buy them, and that would be my major fundraiser, just those sandwiches. But it's some people look at these things as I can make that for every sandwich, and some people just look at it as I'm just gonna give these away. And too many times we just give our skill away. And that's what I want to do with Afro economics. And when I have my one on one with this person on Tuesday, I'm going to tell her, like, you have a gift. And if you want me to help you, monetize this is what we can do. And you can make more money from that gift per hour than you make, working in there. And that's her part-time job in retail. Hmm. 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 Yeah. 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 It- It's work. It's work. Like, it's not pretty. It's work. Like, it's cute to do that like once in a while, and then you get the accolades and you do it once a year. But what I'm saying is you're gonna have to start doing that every month or once a week, or you're gonna have to start doing it regularly, and you can turn that into I pay my car payment from doing this. So sometimes when things are just fun, it's cool. But when JB Bryan turns it into this is work to me now, it's seen as you're taking the joy away from it. Where I love my work. So I see fun in my work. So I work and I work, but I have to understand sometimes I have to remind myself that most people, I can't say unfortunately, but most people have a more salary mentality. They go to work, they get in at 9, they leave at 5, and it's over. It's over. Like, they know from 9 to 5, that's all they have to do. And everything they have to do after 5 is for fun. Or they go to another part time job at 6. And from 6 to 9, they do just 6 to 9. And then that's it. And they just get that. But I'm advocating that if you work from 6 to 9, that extra time, it doesn't have to be just $20 an hour. It could be you could make unlimited income from that 6 to 9 time. That's when you can make unlimited. No, but that's not a rent, because there's a whole bunch of owners that rent. Like, when like McDonald's doesn't own its stores, its restaurants. There's a lot of real estate companies that build all the locations for different McDonald's or different CVS's or different Lowe's and Home Depots and things like that. A lot of store of owners and malls and everything, they don't own where they're located, but they still own it. So we live in now in a time of intellectual property. So we as a people have to stop thinking of just real things as what we own. Like the recipe to her roles is a asset. That is, an asset if she buys into the idea of let's get that patent, let's get that trademarked, whatever the legal term will be, of let's protect this, your roles, and we can even get them made and put it on a packaging and make it into a powder, and so that it can be made and sent to it, and make it into a product on that level. And so it is that becomes the asset. So ownership doesn't have to just be things anymore. Our ownership has to be more in that concepts. People actually are selling concepts. Like when they sell a franchise, they're selling you the concept of that particular business. And people are making millions of dollars off just selling concepts that they came up with. Isn't that something? So, so yes, that's right. That's right. You're spending your money somewhere. And any money that you spend to start up a business is actually tax deductible. So when you're putting money, like most people, unfortunately, I wouldn't say most, but millions of people in the year with a credit card balance that is not tax deductible. Wouldn't you agree? But if that's what, mhm, mhm. How you doing, Queen Howard? I see you. You're right. It's steal your bag, try to steal the bag, huh? New Black World Order. They can't get the bag. They can't get the bag unless you give it to them. So some people will give you flowers while you're living just to steal your bag before you die. Mm, mm, mm. My goodness. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Store, store their tax records. Ooh, yeah. A tax preparer, if they would give you your if you use a tax preparer, try to get them to give it to you printed, but also in a PDF so that if you have to, you can store it into your cloud easily and won't have to scan all that. You know, please call into Carl 1-800-450-7876. Indeed. Call, call Carl, call Carl. 1-800-450-7876. Yes, indeed. Weeda Davis try to tell me what to say. He said, tell me, what you think, Queen Howard? You call in with your sleep voice. You probably still got your sleep voice. I'm up today. My alarm went off. I jumped up. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Bossy. You bossy. Bossy. You should be reminding me to QCD. Ask you one thing. Remind me QCD and just didn't do that. That's why you coming to DC, try to be going around telling people you JB Bryan. Watch it. Hi, I'm JB Bryan. Um, let me find out. I'm JB Bryan. I advise that you store your tax records. Oh my goodness. Mm-mm. Exactly. Yeah, do give you ideas. Exactly. Mm, no, it's all right. I have people who gonna be watching you from the airport till you leave town. I know people. See, New Black World Order. They have services. They are like, what we gonna call you? Snoopy. Snoopy D has landed. She's here. We wouldn't say she's here. It would just be Snoopy D has landed. Snoopy has left the building. Mm, happy Monday. Snoopy D has entered the party. Snoopy D is dancing. Snoopy D cannot dance. We're gonna take pictures too. I want some pictures. Snoopy D is now intoxicated. I'm gonna get some pictures. Soon as you get intoxicated, I'm entering the building. Okay. And then I don't know what's my code name gonna be. Um, you know, sending I'm that. I'm that. That's all right. I'm that. Right. Good morning. Good morning. Right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Wow. Mm. Wow. Definitely go to Facebook, Afro Economics with JB Bryan. You'll see JB Bryan live on the Carl Nelson show. Or also go to YouTube, is streaming live Afro Economics. Um, Anything that you use, you're going to see it on any of the several pages on Facebook, even my own personal JB Bryan on JB Bryan Financial Group, the investment advisory firm, the foundation of it all. And then so you're going to find us. Just go and live from afroeconomics.com. I have a page that streams live now. So every time I hit the button to go live from your show, it goes live from my website. So that's exciting. So it's easy. Mhm. That's right. That's right. Mm, very good point. That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, I know that you cannot write off like the consumer debt that we accumulate if with credit cards, buying clothes and things like that. But if you use a credit card to purchase what you need for your business, that is a tax deductible debt. So you can write off the, interest that you have to pay for the debt that is needed, that what you have to purchase for the business. So every dime of the cost of that printer that you need to make your t-shirts or whatever you need for your business is tax deductible. We live in a country that wants you to build a business and give people career opportunities. So to be able to say that since 1995, I have been helping people feed their families, that's what you want to be able to say with your life. That's what you want to be able to say. And when you start a business, that's what you're doing. It doesn't matter if it's 10, 21, 2, whatever. Even if you're just feeding yourself, you're contributing to the economy by having a business. That is someone that's not on unemployment. Even if it's just you, or it's just you and your spouse, or it's just you and your child, And that's something that, like you were saying, when you start a business, that is the greatest form of ownership that you could have. And all you have to do is have your personal tax return and do your Schedule C and have a sole proprietorship. And you're in business and you own that business. And be very careful when you start setting up different forms of entities for your business, because you have to understand what you're doing when you start doing all these different types of businesses. And I've seen a lot of people doing that. They'll go straight from, I got to set up a LLC, and they don't know what they're doing. What you need to do first is, if you're the only person involved in the business, and you're allowed to have, for what you do, a sole proprietorship, have a sole proprietorship. If you're having a partnership, then you do have to have a different form of entity. You do, because it's a partnership. But if it's just you, keep it simple. I mean, truer words have never been said, and that is by the United States Army, that we should keep it simple. And I don't understand why there's such a movement that we make everything so complicated when it does not have to be. And the more simple that we do this, but having a business is very important, and it is the greatest form of ownership that you could have. And having a business gives you a better tax write-off, really, than home ownership. But we don't look at it the way that we should, because many people who have a home loan are not really getting the benefit of the write-off of the interest, because they're doing the standard deduction anyway, where you'll have the person who has the business, who is actually being able to write off the expenses of the business, and they can do the retirement account through work and reduce their taxable income, or do an individual retirement account and reduce their taxable income more than they are with doing the standard deduction, because their standard deduction, because they're not able to itemize enough, because their house isn't that big of an expense. So we're not understanding, and we're accumulating a lot of unnecessary debt, and not understanding what true business benefits that we have with business ownership. But you have to sit down. Yeah. Yes. Yes. But it's not true that they don't pay taxes. That's like just, propaganda to make us feel frustrated all the time. Everybody pays taxes in the United States. Like, if he doesn't, pay taxes in one capacity, he's paying taxes in another capacity. Like, if so as a business owner, like, it's very complicated how you're paying taxes. But when you have a business and you have all of these people on your payroll, and you have to match their taxes on, their social security, and all of the things that you have to pay through taxation of having that business, Lord knows they're paying a lot of taxes just by investing their whole life in having that business. But once you have a business and you understand the sacrifice of being an entrepreneur and putting everything that you own into a business, then you'll see there is you are going to pay taxes in the United States of America. Now, but when they say that, they may be referring to like he had losses the previous year, and in America, you can do loss carry forward, but the so because he has intelligence and a staff and pays extremely well for support like we should be doing, like joining Afroeconomics so that you have a person who studies this stuff. That's all I do. But we don't spend time or our money on getting help, unfortunately. So, but if you have the right help, they will teach you tax strategies of using the system as what Donald Trump said. I'm using your system, your instructions, your rules in order to do my taxes correctly. Period. That's it. So if you don't do it correctly, then that and they don't do it and they don't do it right, then that is the Internal Revenue Service issue. But I don't believe that they're going to allow billions of dollars from these people to just be lost. Of course we're not. They're getting their money. But if they lost money, you can write off your loss and then you can carry it forward. And they will not allow you to write off all your loss or get money back from your loss. So you have to make a gain and then write off some of the loss. Then you make a gain and then you write off some of the loss. And you make a gain and you write off some of the loss going forward for all the years that they'll allow you to take that big loss year going forward. But believe me, believe me, sis, they're paying. Definitely. I had clients doing that all the time. That's it. It's not against the law to know the law. You have to know the law, but you cannot get to next year and set up a tax loss harvesting strategy. And we're just talking about that Friday in our members only meeting. But if you're not putting yourself into a situation of learning about what's a tax loss, what is tax loss harvesting, what are these things, then you got to get surrounded about around, you have to be around someone that knows something that you don't know. But we're always listening to these people who are telling us crazy stuff like you don't have to pay taxes because it's against the law and nobody has to pay tax. Is until they say that Wesley Snipes didn't have to go to jail, I'm gonna pay taxes. Period. I'm just gonna have to. They win on that, but I'm paying. Great, great. They're trying to take our money. Take our money. Yeah, look, sign up here. I'll show you how to access. You're not sad. Then we sign up. Yeah, and they sent him to jail. He was in jail. That's what messed him up. He was doing great. It was at least 2 years. That's terrible. His accountant, he said, convinced him he didn't have to pay. It's terrible. No. I mean, you better do the return and show them why you don't have to pay. But his thing was like, I made this money, but I don't have to pay. Like, you know what I mean? Like I made this minus these expenses and I don't owe y'all nothing. It was like, "I made this money, but I ain't gotta give y'all none of it." My goodness. Mm. I guess I was unless he coming with me, uh, really, when somebody does something like that, they should have to come with you. Look, we look, we going together. Mm. I'm sure he said, "I didn't say that." Gotta know. Tax strategy. We gonna win. We winning. It could be conquered. Exactly. We must. We gotta do this. We got this. Stay with me, y'all. Stay with me. Mm. Oh, this is spooky. Oh. Mm. Yep. Yep. That's right. Good morning. Good morning. Beautiful. Amen. Mm. Amen. Good. Oh, we lost them, huh? Did we lose them? Oh, okay. Amen. Praise. That's right. 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 I can totally relate to that because I was able to do the same thing with my business, and unfortunately, too often people really believe that they have to have a loan in order to start a business, and I don't think I don't. Again, I'm like you. I just brought my customers with me when I started my firm. I just went from working for someone else doing financial services and opened up my doors and started doing investing for clients on my own. Now, in 1995, it was pretty easy because they were convinced that it wasn't going to work. So there wasn't a big competition on, I'm not going to let her clients go with her because they didn't think anybody was going to come. Nobody was independent back then. Now everybody, there's a whole bunch of independent firms out here now, but I had no idea that I was pioneering the independent financial advisor movement in 1995. It was just that I wanted a different environment. But I like you just felt like it was all I needed was the first deal. All I needed was to live leanly, and keep the expenses down. And as long as I had the computer already, I had the fax machine already, but it's because I didn't need inventory. So there are certain businesses that have different needs, you know. Like with you, if you already have the property, you have it already taken care of. If you have a place to house, some people want to do what you did, but they don't have a place to house the people that they want to take care of. So they have to, figure out the best way to, do they want to rent the property or do they want to purchase the property? So they have a different challenge. With every different situation, the entrepreneur has its own unique challenges. But as Carl was saying, what makes us do it? And I think it's just desire. You have to, as I posted on Saturday, I said, in order to live out your dream, it costs you everything. And if you don't follow your dream, it costs you everything. So regardless, you're going to get to a point in your life where you realize that you've given up a lot to not have what you want or to have what you want. And I thank God that I put my all into having what I want. But there's a get nothing comes without sacrifice. Absolutely nothing. It's a give and a take. Mhm. Mm, 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 mm. That's right. Mm, that's right. Yes, that's right. That's right. It's true though. And then no matter, I remember the biggest challenge was thinking about like health insurance. I don't remember, and I was in my 20s, but I don't know why it was such a big deal. I didn't worry about, I guess because I already did investment. So I wasn't like worried about retirement or anything that another a typical person probably would have worried about retirement. But I was worried about like health insurance. And thank God for, I was healthy, but I did. But now, you have like healthcare.gov, or people don't even have to worry about that because you have a government health insurance. So people don't have to think about that. But I sold group, and for small groups and individual policy health insurance. So I just got my own, insurance policy, but it was based on your health back then. So it did help that I was a healthy person. But but I just remember people saying like, what are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna have to pay for your own health insurance. And I said, well, at least I'm young. It's cheap. Because back then, it was based on your age and your health and all of this stuff. And so I only had to get it for myself. So it was really, really inexpensive. But now, things are, almost like that, in that it's income based. So, and it's not really based, but it's not based on your health at all if you go into that as an entrepreneur into that government program. And especially that first year, if you're leaving a job and you explain to them, I don't have any health insurance and my income is going to change dramatically. And so your premium will be very low, if you're going into that healthcare.gov. If you're single, now, if you have other household, income and you're doing that joint tax return, then you will have to negotiate on getting on their health insurance because that income coming into the house will make your healthcare premium much higher. But there are things like that that the entrepreneur, you know what I mean, will need to think about. And if they have existing, health conditions, it makes them even more hesitant because they start thinking about those things. Mhm. Mhm. Mm. Mm. Ooh. So when he incurred it, he was covered. He was there. He was actively employed during the time of incurring it. Thank God. And the yeah, and woo. Mm. 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 Yes. Yes. The that's interesting. Someone brought that up the other day because they were saying that someone told them that if they did it and after 3 years that they may make them close down the business if they had 3 years of losses. I have not seen that happen to anyone, but I think that it could trigger an audit to make sure that the business is legitimate if the business has not had income over a 3-year period. Like if you're just saying, I have this business and I'm writing off all these expenses, but I haven't made a dime. That is different from what you're asking. Like you're saying, how many years can you make a loss? But what the IRS is really concerned about is why are you out there making a loss, but you're not making any sales? That's what's going to get you into trouble because you're out there just, this person is just buying stuff, buying stuff, buying stuff so that they can write off stuff from the income from their job. That's not what business is for. At some point, you should have sold somebody something. So you should have income. If you have a legitimate loss, you have a loss, but you should be selling something. Like you should have some income to report to create that loss, not just losses. You see, not just expenses. You should be making some sales. That's right. That's right. Come on. Good morning, Miss Turner. Yeah, everything. Oh no, thank you. I'm great. Great. Feels good. I might tank afterwards, but I'm feeling good now. So, feeling good. Amen. Look at Linda Wallace. What's Yvette Turner doing? Up and at it. Let's go. That's right. I didn't get to throw that in the QCD yet. I am. And that we talking about some good stuff. Hmm. It's great. It's great. What y'all doing? Stay with me now. Stay with me. We got this. Stay with me. Feel like I should whisper and get quiet like that. You feel like Monday. All this soundproof stuff around me. It's a nice morning though in Virginia. Where you at? Where you at? Don't forget to call Carl. Let me get this. Oh, I'm learning right along with you. Amen. I love it. Never, never, never learn enough. One thing about this stuff, it just evolves. Money makes sense. That's what I love about money and finance and taxes. And it just makes sense. It's never illogical. It's never metaphysical. It's never about feelings. It's never like, it's just, yes, right, Ms. Novell. I see you. Good morning, sunshine. It's just money is what it is. I can always depend on it. No, rules are what they are, right? I think that's why I do it. Always like math. Mm, what is that? Objective versus subjective, Miss Novell. Is 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's objective, right? And then the other stuff like subjective is like, right? Where it can be you think it through and it depends and all of that. Like, mm-mm, mm-mm. That makes me what's the different types of research, right? What's the difference? Analytical versus what? What's the other type? That I didn't like. What's it called? Forgot. Y'all hear me? This and Delicia acting like she doesn't know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. There's analytical research versus the other type, right? Um, um, think, let's see, let's see. It's a research methods. No, it's they got four types. No, that's not what else. Qualitative. That's right. Quantitative. That's it. That's it. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, well, that's what we're really, I guess, we're referring to is like you're using it on the personal return, like on say on your Schedule C, and then you're trying to get that write off, because on the business itself, if it's doing a return, and it sold stuff and it has these expenses and it made a loss, it is what it is. There's a whole bunch of major corporations that make losses each year and report it. So and they can't force them out of business because they made a loss. So the but on your personal return, when you're taking that loss, you're using it to get some of that money from your W-2. You're getting some of that tax money back. So you're reducing your taxable income. So it becomes more of a concern. So it could trigger that attention if over and over again you're not making any sales. So that would be, a problem for you to say to yourself, am I doing anything? Even, I mean, think about it just logically. Here I am, third year, I haven't sold a thing. Wouldn't you think the IRS should be concerned? Like, you're not selling anything, not a dollar, you haven't shown any income. So you need to be making a conscious effort to have some sales or and showing to them that you have sales. So if you're making these sales and you're not being profitable, in those first 3 years, that could be understandable because you're incurring a lot of expenses during those beginning years. And the that I can't, of course, speak for what might trigger an audit for you, but that a legitimate business that is making sales and incurring expenses that exceed it in order to make those sales should be working its way into trying to work to become more effective. But having years that you're still making losses, that is possible. Um, that's not ultimately what you want, but that is, possible because you had to buy this, you had to buy that, especially, in those first, which are still considered startup years. So, mhm, mhm. Priorities. Remember that we need to first write down, when you make your own budget, don't do it by the template of priorities for whatever source that you might be using, but use it as your own priorities as a mm, 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 mm. Everybody probably knows by now I'm very conservative, so don't buy anything. Don't, but live in the closet. But I wouldn't suggest that you buy anything. Like that we just live as lean as possible. That it's why stress yourself, you know, that's the point. That's what the Federal Reserve is trying to do. It's trying to force you to stop spending. And believe it or not, but they're trying to put a halt on the economy. Like they're just trying to slow it down, slow spending. And that's something, but that's what they're doing. And if we're not responding, look, it's crazy. We like to spend, and look, in the holidays, like people like are going to like still put money. If they still put things on credit cards, that is going to be vicious because like I mean, imagine if you put money on a credit card and then January they cut your job or cut your hours. Whoa. That's up that is like don't put anything on your consumer debt overall should not exceed 20%. So if you make $1,000 a week, only $200 a week should be going to your car payment, your credit card, your like any any consumer debts like that all you have is $200 for that for stuff for you. So of that no, no, no. Like your that other 80, you can that you can use 30% of that other 80 can go to your housing. And so and not that much more. And that 50%, you're like, yeah, JP, that's extreme. And the other 50, save it. No, but at least I mean, I really would like to say 20%. I mean, that's the goal. But at least 10% of your you should be saving. At least 10%. And but you have to first get that consumer debt down to that 20% or lower. That's what's chewing up your savings. Because if you have, a car payment that's biting in, and taking you way over that, then it and then some credit card balances and everything, then it's messing up everything. And you're blaming it on inflation, but it's on lifestyle. It's on lifestyle. Like we just can't have everything. Mm, mm, mm. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna turn it back in. I remember there was this, I had this lady. She got mad at me because I told her she should turn her car back in. She was about to have a hip replacement. She wasn't going to be able to drive the car. It was costing. She could not afford it, and she said, "What should I do?" I said, "You really want to know?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Turn it in." Well, I like my car. I said, "Well, I told you what I think you should do." But the if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. And but I think that the first thought is What will I tell my friends? You know what I mean? And no matter how grown, this was a grown woman. No, talking about this, it was taking up her car payment was taking up like, you know, 40% of her pension check. Come, come on. Yeah, and it was gonna be so big, like, 'cause that she wasn't gonna be able to step in it. It was a SUV, and after the surgery, she wasn't even gonna be able to get in it. So I was like, "You don't even need it. Turn it in, right?" So I would have taken it up to that door and got Uber. That's what I told her. So I had it all planned out. Look, take it to the dealership, call Uber, and we drive on the way. Go home. Your credit is you don't need to worry about your credit because you've got your house and everything, but you cannot afford that. I had one client that was paying 1,400 a month in her 70s on school loans. I said, "You cannot do this. You cannot do this." $2,000, $200,000 in school loan debt. I was like, "There's no way. Oh my God, we have to make a call. We have to make a call." So we called and they, mm, 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 mm. That's consumer debt. Now that's part of that 20%. Woo! You gotta call them. But I told them, I was like, she cannot afford to say. They said, okay, no problem, no problem. We'll put in deferment, and then the pandemic happened, and so that helps those 2 years. But she only has the 2 years, so we're gonna have to figure something out. But that $1,400, woo! They will take it. They will take your whole social security check. No, they won't take the whole one. But if she has it, but she doesn't have it. Two different women, but yeah, two different women. Thank God. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I had another lady that she was not paying her school loan, and they. Oh yeah. They will take your social security in a second. Hmm. Take it. It's coming right back as well. Let's see. That's so positive. Thank you. That's positive. Qualitative versus quantitative. That's it. Mm, mm. What happened? Whoa. Mm, my goodness. Mm, amen. It's time. No, that's right. Yeah. Enjoy what we have. You can't hear Carl? That's amazing. Mm. But that's what somebody on YouTube said.
Huh?
But they can on Facebook.
No. It's like what's
Mr. Johnson said he couldn't.
feeding your headphones is the same thing that's feeding the thing.
That
So if you're hearing Carl,
they
Carl
should
is
be
going
hearing
to them.
Carl.
I mean, he's not talking as much as you, but it's the same thing. See, your headphones are coming from here and there, and that's the exact thing that's going there. Is the same feed.
So make the hiring process work for you. Log in and get started
Mm.
today at Indeed.com/credit.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. And I
Yeah,
bet it can be hard work.
they
You know
did.
what's easy? Bundling
When you
policies
did
with
something, they
Geico.
did.
Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowners or renters insurance with your auto policy. It's a good thing too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save.
Wow.
It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
Hello, I'm Jose Hernandez, and I have been using a wheelchair since my accident in 1995. I guess if I had one message for the general public, it would be that I
Now it's
appreciate your help,
good.
but please ask first. I know you mean well.
Well, I'm pushing the level up now because it's just the commercials. You know, I got the commercials pulled down.
Disabilities just want the same
Oh,
respect.
See, when they go to a commercial break, I pull the level down, so nobody's, Carl's not talking then.
that's probably what it is
Okay,
that they're
I
talking
pull the
about.
level down so it's not blasted in your ears.
That's probably what he's talking about.
Now
Here he
back to the
comes.
Carl Nelson Show.
They probably thought he was talking. Oh, yeah, that's what they were talking about. Oh, they don't like that. They want to hear the commercials. Now we know. They don't want to
Good
hear
morning,
me.
family.
They wanna hear
19
the
away from
commercials.
the top of the hour with financial advisor JB Bryan. You have questions about money? Reach out to us at 800-450-7876. Before we go back to JB, let me remind you, coming up later, we're going to speak with Chairman Fred Hampton. Chairman Fred always trying to find a solution to the shootings in our inner cities, especially his city of Chicago. And this weekend, 50 people got shot, 10 of them were fatal. Also, Chairman Fred's going to be joined by Sister Cassandra, and she's going to talk about the Free Trial Fairness Act as well. Later this week, at the University of Houston's Dr. Gerald Horn will be here, and also Power Talker, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. J. So if you're in Baltimore, keep your radio locked right here on 1010 WOLB. If you're in the DMV, we're located on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL. So, JB, I'm going to let you finish. You're about to tell us the story about one of your clients. I'm going to let you finish telling us that story.
Oh, this was actually just a complimentary consultation, and she was referring to like how she has like gone so long without paying this over $100,000 debt, and that she was in her 60s and she was about to start her Social Security. And I said, did you know that they will start, if you have federal loans, they will start drafting from your federal loan for that school loan that you've defaulted all these years. And she said, what? I said, yeah, that, they collect out of your, school, out of your Social Security, a lot, like millions of billions, like of dollars of black school loans are collected out of Social Security. I even have one client that had to get moved out of her house because she co-signed for her grandson's school loan. And when he graduated, his father nor him would pay for the school loan. So she had to move in with her son and sold her house because because of the school loan payment that she had to start making. It was unbelievable. Wow. Unbelievable.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Is there any legal way they could get around that? Could they form a corporation or do something like that? Are there any legal avenues to use getting around that?
No.
That you know of?
You dealing with the federal government, and that Social Security is the federal government, and that is their money. And they're just sitting there waiting. So, like, if you think that they're not going to get their own money, like, and this is, back in the day, like right now we're in this, like, oh, they're on your side kind of time. But this is, pre this time where the federal government was coming after you. Like, we're going to get our money. But, now it's kind of a chill mode, and, nobody's paying, anything. So I guess if it was coming out of a Social Security check, since COVID, it's not coming out of the Social Security check. But people who it was coming out of your Social Security check, brace yourself, because it's going to start again in January, coming out of your Social Security check. And with your 8% nice cost of living adjustment to your Social Security. So they in a nice raise. That's good. But they're, definitely if you think that you can just go without paying back the loans that are, you just ignored and didn't pay, that no, they will just sit it there. And when you get to Social Security, that's guaranteed income with those penalties and interest all those years until you die, they will get paid.
15 away from the top of the hour, JB, you mentioned Social Security and the cost of living increase. For people in January, how much you mentioned? 8%. Is that the what they're quoting us now? Is that officially what the increase rate is going to be for people who are on Social Security?
Yes, I think it's 8.7, so near 9. Yes, so that's nice.
What does that work out? Can you do the math and help us out? And what does that work out to?
Like, you could just look at it like per 1,000. You know what I mean? You're gonna get about like $90, almost $100 for every 1,000, of your payment. So, on average, I guess people's checks will go up about $200. No, I think the average check's around $1,500. No, but definitely that you look out for information coming in the mail for that. And then I had like one client that was like, well, I worked for the federal government. I don't get Social Security anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. And I said, no, they're also giving that to you for CSRS, people who are federal retirees. For the old plan called CSRS, they get the 8.7, and federal employees under the what is called FERS plan, I think it's 7.7%. So, but yes, they're getting it also. So it's all good in the neighborhood for the retirees. And the challenge is that you're going to have like more financial security for the grandparents, unfortunately, than for the young people, for the children. That, I mean, really for for the dependents. That's what I'm really worried about. Like, what type of increase is it for people who have to feed young people and are relying on government support? And
Yeah.
so
Thank you for
that
sharing
could
with
be a
that, because this
challenge.
is how
Yeah.
we started off talking about budgeting for next year.
Yeah.
13 away from the top of the hour with J.B. Bryan, a financial advisor,
Yeah.
Afroeconomics is the name of our company. Let's go to line
Yeah.
2. Brother Haki is waiting for us. He's in Baltimore. Brother Haki, your question for JB?
Yes. Thank you, Brother Carl. Thank you, JB, for
Thank you.
coming back.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. My
you.
question, two-part.
Mhm.
I see people saying how they are able to use their insurance as an asset to acquire things like property. Can you do you think that that's a wise thing and the best thing for us to do? And my second part is surrounding using credit, to basically acquire property. I mean, I know we do it with loans, but I know, for instance, some investors, they will, real estate investors, they'll say, things like, hey, if the deal is right, use your credit card to, to pay it down. So, so if you could just speak to both of those, and I'll just take it offline. Thank you, JB. Thanks, Carl.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of life insurance things going on now, like people being encouraged to like overfund insurance policies in order to take money out. And I think that people don't understand that when you put money into insurance policies, it is not liquid. Like, you, when you put in money in an insurance policy, only a fraction of it is available to you to take out as a loan from that company. And in your insurance policy, there are huge expenses, and it is in a very expensive way to do almost anything except for purchase life insurance. And so you have to be very careful, and many life insurance companies have been sued for using their product to present as any other use. But an agent could do that. And you have to be very, very careful on how things are presented to you, and getting the details and looking through the policy and making sure that you look at all of the information that is provided to you, and possibly talking to another licensed person. Like, if I had a member of Afroeconomics that was considering doing a deal like that, I would ask them to send me all of the information involved so that I could give them the information, the details, as a licensed person myself, to make sure that this is a legitimate deal that doesn't blow up in their face. Because I've had a client that put like 100,000 into a life insurance policy under in 1 year period, and thought that he was accumulating for a particular goal that was put in writing that this is what was going to happen. And then his tax preparer told him to talk to me. And during just a conversation, I showed to him the guaranteed information that this was not true. What he had been told in a extra printout, that was a lie. And that, I mean, the client almost went crazy. And of that 100,000 that he had put in, the only amount that actually was available to him after that 1 year was about $1,600. It was, I mean, he was blown away. That, but it could have been even worse because it could have been more and more years later. It could have been more and more. I don't know how his accountant came up with, maybe you should call JB Bryan, but I just thank God for him because it just came out of nowhere. I just had helped another one of his customers on closing out on the purchasing on a selling his business. And he just said, I don't know, but maybe talk to her about this. It don't look right. Thank God. And but
what about Brother Hakeem's second
be
question? So come up
careful.
on a break real soon.
And this, I don't know, what was his second question about the
I was using a credit card.
Credit card. And the credit card, it could be a much better idea than doing the insurance idea. Like, because a credit card, you know exactly what interest rate they're going to charge, and you know exactly what type of debt that you're incurring, and you know exactly what to do to pay it off. And what you're doing, like, and you could see your bill, and so your risk involved with using the credit card is much more limited than the risk involved with something that is taking, some costing you so much more of your assets, potentially, with the life insurance strategy. So, but I would, definitely have to look at both situations. But on a quick answer, I'm using a credit card, and that risk there is much lower. And
all right, hold that thought right there, JB, because we're going to take a short break here. We're 6 minutes away from the top of the hour. Check the traffic and weather for our commuters. Folks, and our station also have to identify themselves down the line. Can't leave that out. We'll be back in 4 minutes with JB Bryan. And Brother Gene in Baltimore's got a question for you right here on 1010 WOLB in Baltimore. Also on the DMV on FM 95.9 and AM 1450. WOL, where information is power.
We're going to leave it out so y'all can hear the commercials.
Good traffic sponsored by Mothers Against Driving. Accident cleanup on the ramp from southbound 295 to go to the 11th Street Bridge. As many as 4 vehicles involved there. This. You'll squeeze by under police direction. Delays on Kenilworth Avenue, beginning at Burroughs Avenue. It's bumper to bumper all the way down through there. Northbound on I-295, slow traffic off of the Beltway up towards the Naval Research Lab, then better to the 11th Street Bridge with everybody held up coming the other way on 295. Actually makes it easier for you to get over to 695. So the Parkway slows from Silver Hill Road to Stanton Road, and that's better to the Douglas Bridge. 2 earlier accidents on the outer loop of the Capitol Beltway, one at Old Georgetown Road, one at River Road, both over to the shoulder, still slow through Silver Spring and Bethesda. Cloudy today, high 63. Cloudy tonight, low 59. 57 now at Reagan National. For victims of drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. I'm Robert Workman for News Talk 1450 AM WOL, where information is power.
Are you excited about being a new grandmother?
Of course I am. A little intimidated, too.
Why?
Taking care of a baby today is so different than when I had you.
But, Mom, You did great with me.
Thanks, son. But I put you on your stomach to sleep.
Right. But now we know that babies should always be placed on their backs to sleep for naps and at night to reduce the risk of sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS.
You also slept with blankets and toys in your crib.
True. But now we know to keep everything out of the crib except for my sweet baby girl. No blankets, pillows, or other soft or loose items.
Daddy's going to teach Nana all the ways to keep you safe while you sleep. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
For more tips on safe sleep for babies, visit safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. That's safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
Meals from those years are hard to forget. It was all white bread and whole milk, hamburger casseroles, and quiche Lorraine, all with a side of cigarettes. We ate salads as desserts. We knew a party was classy if it had a cheese log, and we never missed an after-dinner smoke. It didn't matter if we were in our dining rooms, a burger joint, or the ritziest of restaurants. There'd be an ashtray on every table, and that very particular flavor in every meal. We smoked for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's amazing that our food could taste like anything else. If that was you then, get your lungs screened now. Surviving lung cancer starts with a scan. Learn more at screenyourlungs.org. This PSA was made possible by industry funding and guidance from lung cancer patient groups.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash. Fantastic. Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the WASP. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
When a student lacks some of the most basic needs,
like food, clothing, and school supplies,
it can be challenging to even attend school.
It can be hard to study, tough to concentrate, impossible to thrive.
At Communities in Schools, we address this issue every day.
Out in the community, there are great resources for students, and we bring these resources directly to the students who need them most.
We work to ensure that they have everything they need to re-engage in learning in the classroom and at home,
including access to technology, learning materials,
and even emotional support.
By forging caring relationships with students and bringing communities of support to them,
our staff works to achieve equitable learning conditions so all kids can succeed in school and in life. And that's what Communities in Schools is all about.
To learn more, visit communitiesinschools.org.
Wow.
WOL, Washington, D.C. W240DJ, Washington. 95.9. WMMJ, HD3, Bethesda. WKYS, HD3, Washington. WPRS, HD3, Waldorf, and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management.
The Carl Nelson Show.
You're rocking with the most ultimate. All right, let's go. Keep rocking.
good morning again, family. A minute after the top of the hour with financial advisor J.B. Bryan. Later, we'll be speaking with Chairman Fred. But right now, let's go stay with J.B. We've got some folks who want to talk to J.B. So we've been talking all morning about getting your financial house in order. She says, now's the time to do it. Don't wait until January. Sit down now and figure out what's going to happen, how you're going to spend your money, how you're going to save your money for next year. Gene is on line 3. He's calling from Baltimore. Gene, you're on with J.B. Bryan. Gene, there on line 3?
I'm here. How are you there?
There you go. All right, go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. JB, my question is centered going back to when you were talking about the Social Security. The cost of living isn't the cost of living tied into inflation. And that's what qualifies us seniors to get an increase. Because if there was no inflation, there would be no increase in our Social Security, our Social Security money. And I have a second question too, just in relations to. Well, just answer that, and please, because I don't know how much time call has.
So you're correct. You're correct that when the government decides that the inflation rate is at this 8%, then that's the inflation increase that you get. There were a couple of years, where Social Security didn't get any raise at all. So
it was quite a few years. I've been retired since 2012, and since 2012, last year and this year will be the only years I can remember where we got an increase in Social Security. Which for me, this is what happens. I don't think that we. Well, but Baltimore gets criticized as for in reference to math and understanding math, and these are to me is statistics, and because I'm a former banker, and statistics and understanding, what the simple process we're talking about. Food costs has gone up between 25 and 50%, and we get a 10% increase, right? And so now an 8% increase. Gas prices have gone up 100%. So in banking, there's a basic skill that you have to have, and that is to be able to calculate percents of increases and percents of decreases, which are really just real simple. They are either a multiplication problem if you know the percent, and if you know the two numbers, then when you make a comparison of numbers, it's a division problem. And if you're dividing a big number into a little number, then it's going to be a whole number. But if you divide a small number into a little number, then it's going to be a fraction. And I said that, and that's a mouthful right there. But this is I'm sure a skill that you have, and it's one that I learned. But I think in our community, man, it's a real simple concept. But I think it should be taught. Some kind of way we're going to have to teach this to our people, because they're always throwing numbers at us. 50% of the black people who move to the urban city, are crazy or whatever. They don't throw any number at us, and we just, in a sense, fall for it because those simple calculations you can do yourself, and you can figure out when people are lying to you. That's how I do it anyway. So thank you, JB. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Gene. JB, you want to respond?
I know it's like very good point though. Like when they'll say, like enrollment is up. Like I was looking at some numbers and was talking about enrollment was up at a particular school, but they won't refer to the fact that the enrollment was down so much that the year that they're comparing it to. So when to say that, enrollment is up, like he's saying, they can play with numbers so much. Even if you say we're increasing Social Security by 8.7%, but Medicare out-of-pocket expenses are up, 1,000%. So any increase that they're having, if they are ill, will be chewed up, you know what I mean? 1,000 times just in an illness or some, and things that are not covered anymore. So even in the years when there's ways that we're, presented with numbers that, that we have to realize that this might not work in your benefit if you utilize, if this happens to you. And that's really the health department. And that's why I really, me and my commitment to Black health and Black wealth, because if this inflation number will be could be really huge when we start looking at out of pocket medical expenses that are not covered.
Yeah, and I get it from Gene though at 6th Avenue top of it. He was saying that he didn't think that increase was enough.
It's not. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because if you need these things, like the he didn't even get to the part of the Medicare expenses. I mean, of medical needs that are not covered now. Like Medicare does not cover as much as it used to cover. So if you're increasing the Social Security, but my Medicare, which is a major thing that seniors need. I believe that seniors need to have their own cost of living adjustment number, because they have different expenses for seniors than that we have. Like their healthcare expenses are generally much higher. So they like, or like he said, like for food, their food expenses might not be as high as they are for a younger person. So their inflation expense for food might be a small percentage, but their healthcare may be dramatically higher. So, but yeah, it's but like I was saying, like your personal budget really comes down to priorities. And as we're aging, we need to be very conscious of the fact that, one, you're going to live longer than you anticipate. And a lot of people don't think that they're going to live that long, but people are living a lot longer. And that's there was a recent study done on that people, because of COVID and everything, are thinking that they're not going to live that long. So they're underestimating what they need for retirement. But you're going to live longer than you're anticipating. So you need to take care of yourself, because it could get very expensive to live ill. So be healthy.
I got you. 8 after the top of the hour with JB Bryan. 800-450-7876. Renee is calling from PG County. Renee, you're on with JB.
Yes. I have, can you hear me?
Yes, honey. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I have a question. For persons that have yet to receive Social Security benefits, will that 8% increase change the rate table?
Will it adjust?
So what my current benefit is, and then I haven't received it yet. I haven't applied for it. But if I apply for it next year, what I currently get, will that go up 8%? Or is it just for persons that have already retired?
Yeah, it's just for persons that have. That's a very good question, though. But that's just for persons that have already retired, that are getting that cost of living adjustment on their existing one. And the sad part is, it benefits people that are recently retired more than people that are old retired, because the old retired, like the new person who's retiring, they're going to be able to compound on that high number. The old retiree, as like our last caller was saying, like he's, been retired like, 2012. So he hasn't been getting proper adjustments. So his money hasn't been able, his base number didn't get to compound right. But as you said, like, how are they going to adjust for you? But really, yours is just based on your salary. It's still just based on your salary, your income, and your years of work. You know what I mean? Yeah. Inflation, those
that's not going to change.
in your pool. Yeah, your pool. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good point.
Thank you, Renee.
We could be wrong, but I think we're right.
But JB, do you think inflation is going to continue next year? It's so they say. So when she retires, she should be up for an increase, right?
That's right. Like if that's when if she's getting her first check, and it's like, oh, that first, and they're getting a raise in that first check, when they tell her, oh, this is your first year, you know what I mean? And then that first year she's getting a raise. That's a good point. I wonder if they give the people who are getting their first check in March that 8% raise. I bet they are.
Well, let me ask you this, though.
I hope
Isn't there
so.
a medical deduction in Social Security? Is that going to increase as well? Would that eat away at the increase that you're getting?
No, there's a commitment that they can't change that payment to cancel out that COLA. So what they do is they change your out of pocket. So they change the, like the amount, like your co-pays and stuff like that. So they don't change the payment as much. The payment is still be like $179, something that's coming out. They don't have to change it there. They change it with the benefit itself, like, in the services that you get. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's just another way of taking the money.
That's right.
So it's 12 minutes after the top of the
That's
hour. We're
right.
talking about, of course, inflation, what you should be doing with JB Bryan. Momentarily, we'll be talking with Chairman Fred, but right now we're talking about inflation, how to deal with it. As JB says, now's the time you should be looking at about next year, making these plans for your money next year. And I'm glad you're doing this because, most of our folks, I got to tell you, JB, don't even plan. We don't have a financial advisor. We just say, live day to day, check to check.
That's
And
right.
we never really think about the future because many folks, some folks think they're not going to even make it. So, like you said,
Right.
especially when through the pandemic, and now we're talking about inflation that's just totally off the charts, and it seems like it's going to get worse. Having said that, though, this is probably a political question. They claim that the fact that the student loan forgiveness fired up the inflation. As a financial advisor, do you see that as well? Is that the cause of why inflation is going crazy?
Absolutely not. Like that had like that didn't even go into that order. Like this inflation was already happening. Like it was so much money was just flooded out there, and the government had to take some steps in order to slow it down, like those stimulus checks and all of the unemployment and all of that money was put into place, like basically fake money, fake wealth. So everybody
Well, all right there, because that's interesting too. Those stimulus checks, they said that was the cause. They gave us that, what is it, $1,400, and now this is why inflation is that just political talk, or is there any reality to that?
Oh, it's real. It's real. Like it was fake wealth. Like you just put all of this supply out there, so it created this increase in demand, that had to be dealt with. And now the federal government is like, okay, how do we slow down this demand, because these prices had to adjust. It's just, you have all this money, it increased the demand, the supply of the money increased, the demand for products increased, the prices of the products had to increase because there was only but so much supply, and you had this lack of a supply chain of getting the stuff that's needed in order to get people the cars and stuff that they want. They can't get
Right. That's all right there, JB.
Mhm.
We got to take a short break here. We got to check the traffic and weather. You're speaking about cars for our commuters out there. 15 minutes after the top of the hour with JB Bryan. Folks, we'll take your questions for her in 4 minutes right here on 1010 WOLB in Baltimore. In the DMV, we're on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL with information.
Yes, indeed. Let's go. Y'all gotta call Carl. Please wait. That's right. Mr. Johnson just woke up. It just woke up. That's what it
Good
was.
morning. Traffic sponsored by Unbound.org. Accident moved out of the way
telling us.
now, southbound on the Baltimore-Washington Parkway at 410 in
What do you
Riverdale.
think, Miss
Looking at
Turner?
slow traffic from just south of Powder Mill Road across the Beltway through
That's
Riverdale
right.
and pretty much all the way down into Northeast. 50 John Hanson Highway, not bad to the Beltway. You'll slow from 202 headed
Hard
to the
man
Anacostia
headquarters.
River. New York Avenue, slow through the light at Bladensburg Road, then from Brentwood Parkway to the 3rd Street Tunnel. Southbound Kenilworth Avenue, jammed up from Burroughs Avenue down past Pennsylvania Avenue. Looks like the accident at the ramp to the 11th Street
Man
Bridge
tried to
has been
steal
removed.
my identity
Northbound
in Florida.
I-295 still
I
slow all
know
over
who
the
that
Beltway to
is.
Queens, then decent across the 11th Street Bridge and onto westbound 695.
Right?
Cloudy today with a high of 63 expected. And more clouds tonight with a low
They
of
gonna have
59.
to do
Right now,
something.
58 at Reagan National. A girl
I
in
know
Kenya
those
dreams of becoming a
agents are
doctor.
going
An elder in
crazy.
Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change
So
their
it slows
world.
down.
Change your
Sales
own.
is down. It's
Unbound.org.
crazy.
I'm Robert Workman for News Talk 1450 AM WOL, where
As long as
information
you
is
don't
power.
check in as Jay.
Hi, I'm Kathy Hughes, and I'm very happy to report that our strategy of Buy Black Tuesdays is beginning to work for the Black businesses in our radio market. Thank you to
She
each
gonna
and
say
every
my
one of
business.
you who's
Watch.
already participating, and each week making a conscious effort
Go,
to
Kathy.
spend some money with
Go,
a Black-owned business,
Here she
whether
go.
on the local or on the national
Here she
level.
go.
Commitment and conscious awareness of the power of our spending will slowly but surely have an impact on the economic growth in our community. Now that you are doing conscious spending, how about encouraging your family and friends to join us?
That's
because this can really work if we all
Bryan
participate. The recommended businesses for this week are
Made to Measure Fajas. Made to Measure Fajas.com. World Footprints. WorldFootprints.com. Smoke Dat Barbecue.
Minus that.
SmokeDATTBBQ.com. Thank you.
JB Bryan Financial Group.
Signature Dish, WETA's local series, is back with all new episodes. Each week, host Seth Tillman travels to restaurants across the DMV, and at each stop, looking for the one thing you just have to try. Tonight, join Seth as he uncovers the combination of flavors that give Korean cuisine its boldness. Signature Dish airs Mondays at 9 p.m. on WETA PBS and 8 p.m. on WETA Metro, or stream it on the PBS video app.
I tell you.
Minneapolis holds a special place in
Everybody
entrepreneur
know.
and designer Houston White
They
Hart.
know.
It's where he got his start. So
You
whether
got
it's
to be
launching
your
the
own
Get Down Coffee
best
Company
friend.
or his new Houston White for Target collection, Houston takes
to
immense
be.
pride in giving back and inspiring those around him. Now you can watch Houston discuss turning passions into reality and the importance of lifting the community
Talk
up
to
on
yourself.
Target's exciting new content series, Black Beyond,
Paul
now
told him,
playing
you
on
have to be your own best friend.
YouTube.com/Target.
Exactly.
The mission of Paralyzed Veterans of America is clear.
Exactly.
Accessibility.
Have to believe
Veterans who have
in
served and sacrificed the
yourself.
best of themselves deserve access to the best our country
That's
has
right.
to offer. Access to
Get
meaningful
those interest
employment.
rates down in Florida.
Access to the veterans' benefits they've earned. Accessible homes and vehicles. And access
That's
to
right.
every part of their community.
That's right, Miss Turner.
With PVA staff working inside VA hospitals, no other veterans organization has provided more real-time, ongoing support
That
for
was it.
paralyzed veterans and their
I
families.
was watching this on 60
PVA
Minutes,
is proud to serve
and this
veterans
man had
across
this
all
camera
branches,
in
all
his in
generations,
his bag,
and all conflicts.
and he was like talking to himself
Our
about
nation's
killing
heroes
his
fought
wife.
for your independence. Join PVA in fighting
And
for theirs.
they used it in
at
court against him.
PVA.org.
Look, you got to be careful with the
I had an important
conversation that you
job.
have to yourself with
And it wasn't
yourself.
just a job, it was keeping my
It
brothers
was like kill her, kill her.
and coming back, it felt like kind of thrown away. It's like you're useless.
I was like, oh my
You don't
goodness.
really have a need for
I
it
mean,
now
he was
because
like sitting there.
you
Did
can't
he?
really do
He
anything for
just
it.
took the camera around with him, and then he had the camera somewhere else.
For Wounded Warrior Project,
All on 60 Minutes. I know he's in jail. Like, oh my goodness.
it was the camaraderie that I saw.
I'm like,
had
what
in
kind of
life.
camera was that?
I got my family
I
back
don't
again.
want it. Mm.
We all felt the connection, like that brother and sisterhood.
See how Wounded Warrior Project empowers women veterans like Donna by visiting woundedwarriorproject.org/empowerwomenvet.
Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
There we go.
And thanks for joining us, folks. 21 minutes after the top of the hour with JB Bryan. Chairman Fred is on deck. And JB, before we let you go, though, I would love for you to, if you could figure out how to reach some of our young people. Chairman Fred works with our young, especially our young brothers out there in the streets.
Amen.
And it's a daily challenge for him to get to these youngsters. But I think if they had a chance to meet somebody like yourself and taught them how about money, how to make money, how to save money, how to earn money, how to get a side hustle, as you speaking in their terms, they'd appreciate it. And maybe their minds would be off instead of on other things, more progressive and productive things. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
That's the truth. I mean, it is our main thing. I think what saved my life was in my 20s, starting my own business. It really helped me be more comfortable with my Blackness. Like, I just didn't like every day wondering if I was okay in this environment, if I fit in here, when I started my own business, I knew I was welcome there. I knew I was okay. Like, I was, the only one every day, and it was a distraction, an unnecessary distraction, and I really enjoyed my work, and I really wanted to build wealth in our community, and it was worth the sacrifice. And if you're comfortable being uncomfortable and you really believe in your dream, and I feel that our Black men are the way out for us. Like, I believe that the future of our Black community is to get our Black men back in business. We have to build, our Black businesses again, and that there's a movement of just women in business, and it's robbing our community, because we need our Black men in business and we need our Black women in business, but we definitely need, our Black men in business, and we need businesses that support that. So my entrepreneurship program, I really put a lot of emphasis in supporting our men in business. It's just always been a big part of Afro economics, is to help Black men in business. And I've had several times where I've had programs come up to me and they go, if you focused on women, then we would have funding for you. And I go, but I don't do that. I focus on Black wealth. That's what I do. That's God's purpose for me. And that I just feel that if I don't do it, if we don't do it, if I don't do it, that there's not going to be something out there, for us that will be lost. So, but I do feel that Black men, that entrepreneurship will make you feel, because I can imagine how confident it made me feel owning my own business. And it's like giving me just a freedom that a lot of people don't enjoy, and I take it for granted. Now here I am almost 30 years later, and I have certain personality characteristics that are just me. And I believe everybody should have that type of freedom. And I think that through entrepreneurship, we have that. And that there's everything is a give and take. We might not have the comfort of people in corporate America. We may not have the 30 years. I don't get 4 weeks of paid vacation. If I were working, where I used to work, I would be up to 4 or 5, maybe 6 weeks of paid vacation. But I love what I do.
Good for you, JB. And JB, how can folks get in touch with you before we let you go?
1-844-JBBRYAN or afroeconomics.com, JB at afroeconomics.com. I'm here for you. Just go to the website and click to chat, and we're right there. And there's a free membership. There's free membership called No Excuses. So just sign up. Let's keep in touch. Let's get empowered.
All righty. Thanks, JB.
Thanks
for sharing all that information with us this morning.
Thank you.
That's JB Bryan, folks, from Afroeconomics. 26 minutes after top layer. Chairman Fred is with us. Chairman Fred, welcome back to the program.
Good morning, Brother Carter.
Good job, JB.
Good. Thank you. Oh, that was you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Woo! Oh, thank you, Mr. Jenkins. I thank God for y'all. Y'all keep listening to Carl. I'll see y'all Wednesday night. Amen. Blackwell, period. Love y'all. Bye-bye.